One of the great massacres of American history was the last great Indian massacre at Wounded Knee, South Dakota, on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Sad event began with the beliefs by some of the Lakota and other Sioux tribes in Wavoka. The ghost dance was begun there, that there would be an Indian savior come back who would save their people and get them their lands back, which had been taken by the Americans over time. Some of the tragedies leading up to this event included the death of Sitting Bull, a great chief who had been the medicine man at the time of the Custer Massacre. You may recall that Sitting Bull spent one season with Buffalo Bill's Wild West in 1885. For 50 cents or $1, he'd sign his name. He learned how to sign his name in order to raise a little money. He could keep the money for his tribe or his family. But every time Sitting Bull came out, he was booed because Custer was a hero in the eyes of America at the time. And it wasn't until he got a friendship with Little Miss Sure Shot, as they called Annie Oakley, that he decided to stick with the show for one season. But he left it, went back on the reservation. Ultimately, he was killed by Indian police. They were actually United States Scouts for the Army at the time. And this tragedy took place in early December of 1890. Some of the letters from the Indian Service, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, came my way years ago dealing with this tragic event. Let me just read a couple to give you the flavor of them. This is October 6, 1890. The massacres and killing of Sitting Bull wasn't until December, but this is to J. McLaughlin, who was the Indian agent at the Standing Rock Agency and in North Dakota at the time. And one of my Indians, by the name of Reese Kicks, in company with 7 others, have gone to your agency to inaugurate a ghost dance. Bear Kicks left here about a year ago and went to Nevada, that's where Wavoka was, their Indian prophet, to learn about the new Messiah. He returned about a month ago, since which time he has been making much trouble. I respectfully ask that you arrest these 7 Indians and return them to the agency, my police. Very respectfully, Paran P. Palmer, U.S. Indian agent, 1890, at that reservation. Dear Sir, this is also to Agent McLaughlin. This is dated November 10th, Enterprise, 1890. We have heard varying reports regarding the uprising of the Sioux, but as we are located several miles from the railroad and telegraph communication, can learn nothing reliable. Would like to know whether Sitting Bull and his friend, Mrs. Weldon, have their liberty. Does the government place no restrictions upon them? It is sparsely settled along the river here, the dividing line between the reservation and Nebraska, and we are living in mortal fear of the present time, of being surprised by the bloody Sioux. Will you be so kind as to write me, giving all the facts in the case, and oblige Mrs. Emma Warner? Any rate, you can see there are letters like that. There are letters from the Bureau of Indian Affairs saying we want to know what's happening out there. And here's one from the Department of the Interior, signed by the acting commissioner at the time, a man by the name of Belt. And he writes to McLaughlin, the agent, referring to previous correspondence and related to the ghost dances now prevail among the Indians on different reservations. It has been reported to this office that the Messiah, quote-unquote, craze has been inaugurated for the purpose of exciting the Indians and as a cover for their meeting to arrange for an outbreak. Sitting Bull has said that at a point not indicated near Old Fort Stevenson, some 1,500 stands of arms are concealed for use by the Indians in case of an outbreak. I desire that you investigate this matter of concealed arms at once and report the result to this office. Well, you can see these are letters that have not been published, and they lead to the ultimate decision to arrest Sitting Bull and to disarm the Indians around him, which led directly to his being killed by his own people who were in the Indian service. And then the peaceful group of Indians at Wounded Knee that had been brought there the day before, a few days after the killing of Sitting Bull, were attacked with Hotchkiss guns. These are like Gatling guns, and shot down. In fact, these guns were pointed at these peace-loving Indians from all sides, and estimates are that from 200 to 300 Indians were murdered there, and it was mostly old men, women, and young children. 20 troopers died also from the crossfire and from their own troops, and 20 Congressional Medal of Honors were given for this role in this dishonor, and they should be taken away. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel now for new stories to come, and feel free to share the link with others.